all the legal things that you really need to focus on when you are getting your business started? It's a huge question that I hear all the time, especially if you go out to Google and type what legal things I need to consider. You're going to come up with a list of at least 50 things that are going to completely overwhelm your mind and have you running for the hills. Well, today, my love, I am going to alleviate that stress for you because really, truthfully, if you focus on these 5 legal must-haves, you will pretty much have the basics covered when you are starting and growing your business. And these 5 legal ones will give you the I's and the T's that you need to ensure your business success. So what are they? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to share with you today. Let's get to work. Hey there, welcome back. So before you spread your wings, you definitely need to understand the legal airspace that you are going to be playing in. And it can definitely be a tricky landscape, but with the right knowledge and the right information and me simplifying it for you right now, you will really be able to navigate it no hold barred. So do not worry. Now, there's lots of information out there. If you've gotten into Google world, you've seen all kinds of legal considerations that you need to take into account when you're starting a business. I want you to clear your mind because I'm going to give you the top 5 areas. We're just going to break it down to the only 5 that I want you to worry about right now. Now, this isn't saying that you are not going to eventually get to a point where you want to work on additional ones, depending upon your industry, where you're located in the world, and what you ultimately need to do. But generally, these 5 areas are ones that all entrepreneurs and most business owners out there will have to consider. Not all of them will apply to you. Some of them may not apply at all. Some of them will definitely apply to you. But just keep in mind that you want to dive deeper into these 5 areas so that you can make sure that you have got your legal must-haves covered from top to bottom. Area number 1 is your business structure. Yeah, I am getting all the way back on my CP soapbox. You guys know, if you have been in the CPTV family for a while, that I harp on the fact that whether you think you should or you think you shouldn't, setting up your legal business structure and officially starting your business is going to be critical to your success if you are at all serious about being an entrepreneur and having a truly thriving empire.
That's what I'm talking about.
The business structure that you choose, whether it's an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp or a holdings company, is a lot less important, believe it or not, than actually getting it done. Now, I am not going to dive into the LLC and the differences in the S Corps and the C Corps. I have done those videos. So I want you to make sure that you check those out if you want to dive even deeper. Take a look at this one right here, which is the best LLC advice that I can give. It breaks it all the way down. And then this one that I've actually did a few years ago, but it still holds true. It is an interview with my accountant and with my attorney talking about the different legal and tax implications that you should consider when you are choosing your basic legal structure, regardless of which one you choose. I usually set up LLCs in my businesses and then eventually convert them into S Corp status once they reach certain amounts of revenue in order to make sure that I'm being compensated as the CEO. And that's a whole nother thing. But regardless of which one you ultimately choose, my point in this step is to choose one. Yes, officially register your business. It is the core critical legal must-have that you need to make sure you are on top of. Because if you don't have this one, none of the other ones that I'm getting ready to go over with you will even matter.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
This one is designed to make sure that you have the necessary protections in place to protect your personal assets from anything that could potentially go wrong as you are doing business for someone. Whether it's a issue or a mistake of errors and omission, or if someone falls, or if you burn someone, or if you do something to someone, some type of accident or whatever, it's going to protect your personal assets. That means that if somebody comes after you for doing something that you did in your business, they can't also come after your personal assets, like your home or your car or all of your goods, unless you do like some kind of personal guarantee, but that's a whole nother video, all right? The point is, set up your legal business structure immediately. Do not wait. Don't do business for a year and dabble and then say, oh, it's something I can put off, because none of the rest of these even matter unless you've got step one, legal must-have, in place. Now, the second area of legal must-have that you must really contemplate really applies to all of my consultants, my coaches, my service providers, those types of folks out there, and that is your contracts. Yes, your contracts and service agreements. They are your safety net. And I made a huge mistake in my very first business when I mentioned to you guys that I lived overseas and was working as a consultant, helping nonprofit organizations start from the ground up as an organizational capacity building consultant, which is, really similar to what I do just now anyway. I was working under one particular contract, signed up with a second client, and did not get a service agreement in place and suffered the consequences immensely. Literally worked for them basically for free for 6 months. I was smart enough to get some things in place, so it wasn't like a complete fail, but I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it was definitely a 9 because I did not have this particular legal must-have set up impeccably. So contracts, all right, you will want to make sure that when you are signing up a new client, it's actually a basic part of every sales process that I teach all of my coaches and consultants and service providers and speakers is to make sure that you have a service agreement. And in that service agreement, you are going to want to make sure that you are outlining very clearly what services are covered under the contract. You are also going to want to make sure that you spell out very clearly what the payment terms are, how much they're going to pay you, when they're going to pay you, if it's going to be broken up into different payments, how often they're going to receive it, and also what happens if they pay you late. Like for me in my service agreements, if my invoice is not paid within 30 days, there's automatic late fees attached and automatic interest attached. Because in my mind, you're supposed to be paying me for something I've already done. I've given you a loan and I deserve some interest just like the banks do on that loan. So making sure that you're including those types of terms in that agreement as well from a payment term perspective. You're going to also want to make sure that your contract and service agreements cover intellectual property, like who owns the end result. Typically for me, if I am putting out some type of work product, usually that's as a consultant or as a coach, that's what I'm doing. I'm providing my clients with my expertise and I'm creating things for them in their businesses. That intellectual property, once they've paid me for it, is theirs. So I give them the intellectual property on those things. And then also in your service agreements, you're going to want to make sure that you've got very ironclad confidentiality agreements that spell out very specifically what they will keep confidential about what they learn about you and your business. And most importantly, for your customers' peace of mind, what you are going to be obligated to keep confidential. Because as a coach, a consultant, as a service provider, you will probably have access to a lot of insider information, a lot of detailed information about the organization, and your clients are definitely going to want to know that you are going to keep that information confidential. Like in my capacity as an operations consultant, I have access to almost everything inside the organization. That's a big part of what I do. I go in and look at the entire thing, figure out all the areas that are weak and what's wrong. And then I ultimately then will create a strategy and an action plan and ultimately help them implement ways to fix all of that stuff, whether it's processes, automations, all of those things. And so in the course of me delivering those scopes, that scope of work, I have access to all of their stuff. I mean, everything. I see it all. Right. And so it is very important that my confidentiality statement in my service agreement is very clear and lets them know nobody else is going to find out what's going on. It's like, a vault over here. All right. It's like client attorney privilege over here. So you're going to want to make sure that your service agreements include that as well. A lot of times you guys ask me, can you get a copy of what my service agreement looks like? Can you get it? And if you are in a coaching program with me, I typically will provide you with like templates and stuff like that I've used. But one of the things that I can tell you guys out there in CPTV world is the best way to kind of formulate your contract and your service agreement is to do what I did. In the very beginning, I hired an attorney to create a service agreement template to make sure that all of the I's were dotted and T's were crossed. And once they created that template for me, I was able to use that as a baseline for all of my service agreements. I can't give you mine because each contract that you create in service agreement will be very specific to your client's needs. It will again spell out what services you're providing. It will again spell out your service terms and your payment terms. So I can't give you mine, but I would definitely recommend that you invest in having an attorney put one together for you that you can use as a template if that is ultimately where you are in your journey and just trying to figure out what your service agreement needs to include. That is a pro tip. Buy one template, use it and tweak it, but ultimately you're going to end up eventually tailoring each contract to your client's needs while protecting your business interests. And that is why this legal must-have is 100% in the top 5 of things that you need to be thinking about and considering at this point in your entrepreneurial journey. Now, the third area of legal must-have that you must be thinking about, my love, is intellectual property. Yes. Your ideas are, in essence, your currency, especially as a coach, a consultant, as a service provider, and even as a nonprofit leader. And that currency is worth something. It has value. So things like copyrights, trademarks, and patents, if you have a specific product that you have created that only your amazing, brilliant mind has come up with, they are your unique methods. And those materials need to be protected to prevent others from capitalizing off of your hard work and effort. So this is that area that you really have to dive into and contemplate, right? I get a question all the time from you guys about trademarks and about the specifics around what that looks like and when you need to do it. And honestly, sometimes I think people get caught up in getting their trademark like immediately and instantly and not really realizing and understand what all of that means. You know, it really depends upon what you're trying to trademark. Like there are certain things, phrases, names of products and services in my business that are uniquely mine that I do have trademarked. But then there are other ones that are not trademarked because they're not uniquely mine. Like maybe they are named in a way that it's just kind of a general word that's out there in the country that I can't trademark. And going through the process of getting things trademarked is not an easy process. The first time I tried to do it on my own because y'all know CP loved to do some DIY stuff. And I did it successfully, but it was the biggest pain in my butt that I can recall. And from that point on, anytime that I want to get something trademarked, I just use my attorney. If you are not at the point where you can use an attorney to get that type of stuff done, then I would definitely say spend a little bit of time investigating the details around what trademarking is, what it does, and determining exactly what inside of your business you may need to trademark, because it's not an easy process. It's not a cheap process either. And so you don't want to just be willy-nillying trademarking stuff. So definitely spend some time. It is worth the effort to educate yourself. And if you want me to do a more detailed video, like diving really deep into trademarks, then let me know in the comments below. Just comment trademark and I will add that to the queue of things, because I really do think it's a great discussion to have. I think there's a lot of misconceptions and myths out there about what you need to trademark. So that is definitely a big piece of this legal must-have. And then, of course, copywriting. Now, the old school, like poor man's copyright, if you've never heard of that, then maybe I'm older than I think I am. I don't know, or maybe I'm really old, but there is this whole like notion behind a poor man's copyright that if you write something and I've heard you put it in an envelope and mail it to yourself, then that postmark is what ultimately makes it so that you're copywritten, right? And there is some truth to that old school poor man's copyright method. But what I have to tell you is that it's gotten a lot simpler than that, because now our original creative works are kind of put out instantly, especially through digital means, right? If you email it out, if you post it on your website, if you sell it, all of those things, and all of that type of stuff is already time stamped. So needing to print something out and mail it to yourself, I don't know if that's necessary at this point. I do want you to know, though, that you automatically gain copyright for your original creative works from the moment that work is fixed in a tangible form of expression with a timestamp. Yes. Did you hear what I said? You automatically have the copyright. If somebody stole it, you should, if it's your original creative work and you put it out there as a form of expression, you should be able to show the timing of when that went out. And as long as your timing is earlier than their timing, you win. You've copyrighted it. So don't wrap your beautiful little head around formally going through kind of copywriting processes, because almost every single thing that I put out in this business is copyright written, because it's my original creative thought. It's my original creative work. And as soon as I put it out there, it becomes time-stamped and I'm covered. So in this legal must-have section of intellectual property, the two biggies are trademarking and copywriting. And that's all I really want your pretty mind to think about as you're contemplating, and definitely do the research that you need to figure out where you fit in to that whole dynamic. Now, of course, take a quick moment, take a pause. If you like it, if you love it, if you're getting something good out of this, go ahead down the bottom, give me a like, give me a share and a comment. It totally helps the channel grow. Now, area number 4 of your legal must-haves that I want you to think about is your licenses and permits. And I've gotten millions of questions from you, especially when you are in certain parts of the country, California specifically. You guys out in California have your work cut out for you when it comes to licenses and permits. I feel like every single city, borough, street requires some type of license and permit. But California is not alone in that, guys. It really doesn't matter where you are, but it does depend on where you are, right? So depending upon your niche, what you're doing, what you're offering, what your products and services include, and your location, you definitely might need specific licenses or permits. I can't tell you all of them that are out there. I literally probably have to create some kind of book or guide or something to break it down, and it would probably be 1,000,000 pages, and then I would have to charge for it because it would list a lot. But my biggest advice in this area is that there is a possibility that you need a license or a permit in order to successfully conduct business. That license or permit could be city-based for you, it could be locale-based for you, it could be state-based for you, it can be country-based for you. The best thing that you can do is to do your homework to ensure that you're not skipping any legal hoops. And your homework can be something as simple as going out to Google and saying, what licenses and permits do I need for a business that does blank in the state and city of blank? Yeah. Pretty great search, right? And everything that you can think of will come up, and it'll give you some suggestions. And from that, you can determine what you need to ultimately apply for, because there could be a whole laundry list or there could be absolutely none. Bottom line, in this particular area of legal must-have, make sure that you're thinking about it, make sure that you're looking into it, and most importantly, make sure that you are getting the licenses and permits that you need to successfully start and grow your business. And the 5th critical legal must-have area that I want you to make sure that you are thinking about is insurance. Yes, insurance. You guys know I owned an insurance agency for years. I am a big proponent of insurance, not just because I sold a lot of it, but because it is an absolutely critical part of your protection. Accidents happen, even in consulting work, even if you're not out there like, putting down pavement and doing an actual physical labor, accidents definitely happen in the form of negligence or omitting information or errors and omissions. And professional liability insurance is something that you definitely want to look into. I would also say, business insurance, especially if you have a brick and mortar office like I do, is very, very important to protect your assets. So I do lease my office space, but I also have business insurance. Most leasors will require that you have it in order to protect them from you suing them if something happens. So all of my equipment, all of our computer stuff, all of our furniture, all the assets of the business are protected under our business insurance. And then the services that I deliver, the advice that I give, the information that I provide, the intellectual property that I sell is also protected by professional liability. So for you, it really depends on what you do, but most likely you're going to have some type of insurance need. And I absolutely recommend that you take care of that and get it. It is an investment. It is just a basic part of your operational expenses. Don't skip on it. Don't ignore it. Don't avoid it. It just is what it is. Include it in the budget. Take care of it. It don't have to be expensive, because it will be expensive on the back end if something goes down and you don't have the protection. So this is a definite legal must-have area that you want to take into consideration and start diving into in your entrepreneurial journey. All right, so let's recap these 5 areas. These are the ones that I want you to focus on making sure that you've got in place. Number 1, your business structure. Absolutely critical. You don't have it, huge mistake. Number 2, your contracts and service agreements. Number 3, your intellectual property, trademarks and copyrights in this particular sections, my love. Number 4, your licenses and permits. If you need them, get them. Figure out what they are. If you're in California, I feel your pain because y'all out there needing to get them for every little thing, but you still got to get them. And number 5, your insurance, professional liability, and business coverage. You understand? Those are the 5. Clear out all the rest of the noise, take care of those 5, and you will be really, really covered to get this thing going and growing. And then once you get to the next point and the next phase and the next phase, there's some other stuff you got to think about. But right now, that's where I want your beautiful mind to stay so that you can get this business started and stop making excuses and stop procrastinating and keep it going. All right. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully it cleared some of the fog. It took away some of that stress. And until next time, my loves, I will see you very soon. Bye-bye. Mwah!